Now, Nio is a stock that has been dropping so rapidly and bringing in more panic to the new investors. Some of the investors have started sending me messages on inbox, social media, telling me that they are done with this stock. They are selling this stock and they are going to focus on other stocks, which, yeah, I mean, I don't blame them, because probably though I give them the strong fundamentals, they expected or anticipated this stock to recover to its all-time high much quicker. But as for me, this is a stock that I intend to keep for a very long time, looking at the strong fundamentals that surrounds this stock. Now, I know most of you might be panicking. I know most of you or some of you might be asking as to when are we going to see this stock head back towards its all-time high of $66.99. Well, nobody knows, but all I can say is that the current levels that this stock is currently trading at, many people are anticipating that it will be a very rare case to see this stock dropping further due to the strong fundamentals. And even some are saying that they are surprised that it went this low. But many people or many investors are expecting this stock to rebound. Even the technical, or the good thing is that even the technical guys that do technical analysis on these stocks are also anticipating or indicating that it's time that we see this Nio stock rising towards its all-time high, which brings a lot of excitement and sort of like ease the panic that we are seeing in social medias and all everywhere where investors are communicating to one another. Otherwise, on today's video, guys, I decided to give you the 10 good reasons as to why this Nio stock will be a winner and you ought not to sell this stock because it's set for greatness. So these 10 good reasons, some of them I've discussed with you, as you will remember, for those of you who've been following me for some time, to say that this is not the first video where I talk of the 10 reasons why Nio is a good stock. But these 10 reasons that I'll be giving you today, there are more points or new strong fundamentals that I'm adding to those old points. Otherwise, if you enjoyed today's video or the content that I'll be sharing on today's video, please don't forget to hit that like button. If you're new, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click on the notification bell so that you don't miss the good news or the latest developments regarding the stocks that we follow on this channel. Otherwise, please know that I'm not a professional financial advisor. All that I'll be sharing here are just my opinions, and if you seek professional financial advice, you already know what to do by now, and that is you need to go and consult the professionals. So please do watch this video until the end, because I definitely think that these 10 points or these 10 reasons why I think you ought not to sell your Nio stocks or panic due to the drastic drop that we've been seeing on this stock, I believe that they will motivate you to probably pile more instead of worrying or panicking that this stock has been dropping sharply, especially if your average purchase share price on this stock is higher than the current trading levels. I mean, it's understandable for those or to those that have the average purchase price which is lower than the current trading price of this Nio stock not to add, but to just relax to see if Nio could drop further before they add. Otherwise, if you are having a high average purchase price, meaning that if your average purchase price of Nio is around $40 US, I personally think that you ought to be adding. And if you are at 50 and above, even more good reasons for you to add so that you lower down your average purchase price on this stock. Otherwise, for those of you who've been following me for some time, you will know that my average purchase price on this Nio stock is $34.34. And I've not been adding because I've not reached or I've not seen this Nio stock going at that level or below my average trading price. But I promise you, if we see Nio going back to $34 US, I will be adding to this stock, guaranteed, no doubt about that. In fact, if it takes me to sell some of the value stocks or some of those dividend stocks I invest in just to secure some good holdings onto this stock, I will do that, because this is a stock that is very close to my heart and I believe it's just set for greatness. Otherwise, reason number one that ought to encourage you to stay long into the Nio stock, it's their deliveries. I mean, guys, the Nio gives us updates on every month as to how many cars they delivered on a month to month, which is something that sort of like give us on how they are doing in terms of their deliveries, which is something that is really amazing. I mean, for the Q2 of 2021, Nio delivered 21,896 vehicles for the Q2, which is something, or which was something that was truly amazing, because they beat or they delivered more cars than those they had reported in the Q1 of 2021, and I think they delivered 20,060 cars for the Q1. Now for the Q3 for the upcoming Q3, they expect or they plan to deliver vehicles between 23,000 to 25,000, which is something that is truly amazing and ought to encourage you more or motivate you to stay long into this stock. Because what are we seeing on Nio? We are seeing Nio not only thrashing the deliveries they reported on these quarters last year around the same time, but we are seeing them thrashing the previous quarter deliveries, which is something that ought to show you that this is a company with some good growth. This is a company which is growing, and which is why I definitely and personally think that you ought to be motivated by these deliveries. Otherwise, reason number two which ought to motivate you to stay long into this Nio stock is their total revenue. Now you remember that for the year 2020, Nio reported a total revenue of around 2.49 billion US dollars, which was amazing because it was a 100% increase when comparing to the total revenues they reported in 2019. But guess what? To date, for this Q1 of 2021, by just the Q1 and the Q2 earnings, we see that Nio has already delivered or has already generated a total revenue of around 2.53 billion US dollars, which has already passed the mark of the total revenue they reported in 2020, which is something that must show you that if Nio has already reported 2.53 billion US dollars by just the Q1 and the Q2 earnings results, then this just simply means that we might see this company reporting total revenue for the entire 2021 of between 5.5 and 6 billion US dollars, which is something that is truly amazing. And one thing that makes me to say that they will get closer to that 6 billion US dollars is the fact that with the ease of the semiconductors, which was impacting or restricting or restraining these EV companies at ease, we can expect Nio to deliver some good numbers when it comes to their monthly deliveries, which is why I believe that we might see them getting to almost 6 billion US dollars for the entire 2021 year in terms of the total revenue generated, which is another thing which ought to motivate you to stay long into this Nio stock, because then it will mean that their revenue grew by over 100% when comparing to the total revenue they generated for the year 2020, which is another thing which ought to motivate you. This just means that if Nio continues with the way they are generating this revenue, we might see them, or we will definitely see them reporting a total revenue of probably of over 12 billion US dollars for the year 2022, which is something that is truly amazing and ought to encourage you to not to panic because of the current trading levels, but motivate you to continue adding your positions, because you know, or we know, that this stock is set for greatness. Otherwise, reason number three, which I believe that it ought to motivate you to stay long into the Nio stock, is none other their balance sheet. Now, you will remember that, guys, a balance sheet or a good balance sheet attract investors into coming to invest into a stock, as this offers a highest level of liquidity in terms of companies' short-term obligations and operating expenses, which is something that attracts investors, because a company with a good balance sheet it's set to do very well, or it usually does very well in the future, which is something that is truly amazing and ought to encourage you to stay long into this Nio stock because of this good balance sheet. Otherwise, reason number four, which ought to motivate you to stay long into this Nio stock, is none other than BaaS, or their battery as a service. As you would know that this is something that makes Nio to stand out from the other EV cars. Now you remember that Nio, on this battery as a service, they plan, or what they do is that they deploy swap stations where their clients can go and replace their batteries in their EV cars in a time frame which is less than 4.5 minutes, which is something that is truly amazing. Now you'll know that to date Nio has already deployed over 370 battery swap stations. I know this number keeps on increasing, so they've almost deployed 400 battery swap stations. And the good thing about these battery swap stations, guys, is that they offer convenience to the Nio clients, because they now have an option to go and charge their EV cars, or have an option of going to do a battery swaps at this swap station, which is something that is truly amazing and ought to motivate you. And another thing with these battery substations, Nio, we already know that by the end of the year they plan to have deployed over 700 battery substations, which is something that is truly amazing and ought to motivate you. And with the current numbers, Nio has already indicated that 31% of their users currently have a battery substation within a 3-kilometer range, which is something that is truly amazing and ought to motivate you, because then it means that this thing of us just keeping on saying that it offers convenience, we are finally seeing Nio or indeed offering convenience to its clients. I definitely think that by the end of the year we are going to hear Nio saying that 50% or over 50% of their clients are now having a battery substation within a 3-kilometer range. Otherwise, Nio plans to have over 4,000 battery substations by the end of 2025, which will mean that the kind of convenience that Nio will be offering to its clients will be so massive, or will be so great in a way that almost everyone would want to have or own this Nio car. Otherwise, reason number 5, which I think it ought to motivate you to add more into this Nio stock, is none other their upcoming ET7 model, which is set to start with sales in the Q1 of 2022. Now, this model or this vehicle is one of those models in Nio which is set to generate Nio some good revenues, because you'll remember that Nio has already indicated on this model that its pre-sales has exceeded those of their previous models, which is something that is truly amazing and ought to show you the kind of demand that we will see from this ET7 once they launch or once they start selling it in the Q1 of 2022. This is another good reason which ought not to make you to panic on this Nio stock, but motivates you to stay long, because we know that Nio is going to add another model in their vehicle numbers, which is going to even take their delivery numbers higher. And this, my friend, is something which makes me strongly believe that Nio will do even much better than what they are doing in the year 2021, which is something that is truly amazing, which is why I don't even doubt, like I said in my previous point, to say that we might see them, or we will see them generating total revenues for the year 2022 of over 12 billion US dollars. Otherwise, whilst talking of the ET7, reason number 6, guys, that ought, or which ought to motivate you to stay long into the Nio stock, is none other than the Subbrand that the Nio announced that they will be launching in 2022. Now, this Subbrand, the good thing about it is that it will be much cheaper than the current vehicles that Nio is selling, and that is your ES6, your ES8, your EC6, and the upcoming ET7. So this Subbrand will be affordable to even the lower income class people, meaning that they will be able to attract even the lower income class people to come and buy their products, which is something that will boost their revenues, because currently the people that can afford these Nio cars are middle to high class people, are high class earners, which is something that this Subbrand now will be able to offer a chance to those people in the lower class or to the lower income class to get or reap the good benefits that Nio offers to its users, and probably enjoy their premium services, which is something that ought to motivate you to stay long into this Nio stock. Otherwise, reason number 7, which ought to motivate you to stay long into this Nio stock, is none other than Nio is backed by the Chinese government. And now you all know by now that I've told you several times that the Chinese government gives subsidies to people that buy these local EV cars like your Nio, Xpeng, and Li Auto, which this, my friends, will make, or will always make, this kind of companies like Nio to always see demand in people coming and wanting to buy their cars, because they get subsidies from the government. So this is another reason which ought to show you that Nio, irregardless of what might be happening in China, they will still succeed, which is something that must motivate you to stay long into this Nio stock. Otherwise, reason number 8, guys, is none other than the Europe penetration, or the Nio Europe penetration. Now, this is a very good thing, because you remember that not only will Nio be selling their EV cars in China, but now they have an opportunity, or they will be able to sell their EV cars even in Europe, which is something that is truly amazing, with Norway being the first destination which Nio will start be selling their model or their ES8 model this coming September, which is something that must motivate you to make you really see that Nio is expanding, or Nio is not only selling their EVs in China but expanding to other countries, which is something that is truly amazing. Now, you'll remember that Norway is not the only destination where Nio will be selling their EV cars in Europe, but Nio has already, or we already know that Nio will be selling their EV cars even in Germany. They will be selling their EV cars in Amsterdam, which will be their head office in Europe. This is something which ought to motivate you guys. This is something that ought to show you that it's not only China where Nio will be generating their revenue, but we will also see part of their revenue coming from their Europe penetration, which is something that is truly amazing. In fact, one of the Mizuho analysts indicated that 30% of Nio's total revenue could be coming from their international sales, which is something that is truly amazing. Otherwise, reason number 9, guys, which ought to motivate you to stay long into this Nio stock is none other than the Hefei plant, which Nio plans to complete or plans to start with the production in the Q3 of 2022. Now, this is some good major news which will definitely shift this Nio to the next level, because you'll remember that this Hefei plant is able to produce 1 million EV cars annually, which is something that is truly great and will make it possible for Nio now to start producing their cars in many numbers, which is something that is truly amazing and will increase even their revenue, or will make it possible for them to generate even more revenue. Now, in one of my previous videos, I did indicate that the opening of this Hefei plant for production in 2022 or in Q3 of 2022 will make or will force the market to adjust the share price of Nio to higher levels, because now Nio will be able to produce more cars, meaning that they will also be able to deliver even more cars, which is something that is truly amazing and ought to motivate you to stay long into this Nio stock, because with that plant opening, or with that mega Hefei plant opening, it just definitely means that Nio can easily get to, or can generate tons and tons of revenue than what we are seeing now. Otherwise, reason number 10, or the 10th reason which ought to motivate you to stay long into this Nio stock, is the institutional ownership growth on this Nio stock. Now, we've been seeing so many investors coming and invest onto this Nio stock for the very first time. I remember even on the video which I made on Wednesday, I remember saying that the current Nio institutional owners were around 894. Now, yesterday or a late Thursday night, we saw the number of institutional owners on this Nio stock rising to 895. This just simply shows you that even the institution or the big financial institutions are seeing the good opportunity that this Nio stock is offering, especially at the current trading levels. They see what Nio can be in the future, which is why they are investing, so that they can generate some good returns from this stock. Now, this ought to motivate you, because like I said, it's not only the existing Nio clients that are adding their holdings or their positions on this Nio stock, but we are seeing even new financial institutions coming to buy this Nio stock for the very first time, which is something that must encourage you to probably do the same. And like I said, especially if your average purchase price is higher than where Nio is currently trading at, then this ought to be a very good opportunity for you to come and add your holdings into this Nio stock. Otherwise, guys, this EV market, or the EV sector, is one of the sectors in the stock market which is set to do very well. I mean, EV sales in China are already set to double for this year to over 2 million units, which is something that must show you the kind of growth that we are seeing on this sector, which is something that is truly amazing and ought to motivate you. And it is not only in China where we are seeing growth. Germany, which is in Europe, already indicated that by 2030 they expect to see over 14 million EV cars on their roads, which is something that is truly amazing and ought to show you that it's not only China where this EV market will boom, but it's probably the entire world, which is something that is truly amazing and ought to motivate you not to lose hope on this Nio stock, but take this drastic drop that we've been witnessing on this Nio stock as an opportunity for you to add more positions into this Nio stock, because I tell you, my friends, if you are sell this stock, or if you consider selling this stock 2 years down the line, I can tell you without any hesitation that you will regret this opportunity, or that you missed by selling this Nio stock now. So do yourself a favor and let these 10 good points that I just give you motivate you to not lose hope and sell your Nio holdings, but hold them or keep them so that you can earn or get the good returns that other Nio investors like ourselves will reap from holding or persevering this drastic drop that we've been witnessing on this Nio stock. Otherwise, with all that, guys, I make tons and tons of stock market investing videos, and if you think that this video was amazing, please don't forget to hit that like button, and if you're new, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click on the notification bell so that YouTube can notify you every time I release a video. Otherwise, with all that, I wish you nothing but the best in your stock market investing journey, and please go out there and do your own due diligence on this stock before you press that sell button. Otherwise, that's all from me, and God bless you all.